what do we have here? Looks like I have a little visitor. You may kiss my boots.
Thank you, goddess.
Ah, shit! How the fuck did you find me? Seems no matter where I go, I really can't escape a bunch of crackheads like you.
Well, you can tell by the way my eyes are lit. I'm a tweaker man. Woo, I smoke the shit.
I have no idea how you tracked me down, but while you're here, I guess you could give me a hand, yeah? I got myself in a bit of a predicament. I was digging my way out of here and I turned around and I kind of fell in this hole. What are you doing with those bags of cement and water? Wait, no, hold on. I swear to God, I was not trying to escape. Please, I wasn't trying to escape. I was just excavating. As soon as I'm out of here, I promise you I'll whip you up some pony salt. Oh, was that? There's no need? Oh, you brought all my lab equipment. Well, that's real convenient along with the bags of cement, don't you think? How about we pull me out of this hole first, and then I'll feed you your salt?
Motherfucker, give us your motherfucking
Pony salt.
You know, it's funny how the greatest highlights of 2021 on this channel was PlayStation fanboys on a weekly basis looking for each and every single reason to hate on Xbox Game Pass and claim it's evil and will destroy gaming. A narrative that they clinged on to harder than the PlayStation 5 creating the universe in 7 days. I mean, if PlayStation fanboys had a Bible, which I'm pretty sure they do, Game Pass would be the equivalent of Satan. Their retarded belief in Game Pass being everything wrong with video games was truly a strange obsession, further pushing the console wars to levels of autism that not even Sammy Classic Sonic fan could ever match.
He's out of line, but he's right.
I mean, most sane people, which mind you I am not, would take one look at this and say to themselves, yeah, the people making these tweets have a serious problem. I call it stupidity, some call it mental illness, but they call it
console passion.
So the last thing the PlayStation fanboys needed in 2022 was yet another game that further destroyed each and every one of their narratives about why Game Pass is the evil and $70 games are the way to go. But sadly, the game I didn't expect to do that was Gran Turismo 7.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy
Forza Horizon 5.
I ain't exactly into the racing genre. Hell, I'm not even into Mario Kart. Garfield Kart, maybe I'll give a chance. But even with my lack of experience in the racing genre, it was still games like Gran Turismo 4 that made me excited for the future of racers. Plus, it was like the only game my mom thought wasn't satanic.
That's what this is, you know. Satanic black magic. Sick shit.
So I got to play it quite a bit, and it was the last Gran Turismo game I touched for a very long time. That was until Gran Turismo 7 caught my attention, but was lost in a few seconds after watching Reviewtechusa's video that was nothing but 100% pure facts. Rich is the guy who pisses off basically every single community you can think of. So no, PlayStation fanboys, you're not special. Well, I mean, you are medically special, but amongst other fanboys, you're not special to Rich. So it doesn't surprise me when he decides to title the video, Gran Turismo 7 is an overhyped joke.
God damn it! I don't know how to express myself unless through anger and personal attack!
Today we're talking about Gran Turismo 7. I heard great things about it, then I played it, and then I thought I was ported back to 2009 because it looks like a PlayStation 3 game that has been upscaled.
But
I'm going to pause you 1 second, though, but here is the thing. Visually, okay, I understand Forza Horizon 4 is, like you said, it's an arcadey game, where Forza Horizon leans more on the arcadey side, but it seems more realistic visually.
You can't do that. You have to go by.
And that's the argument I was getting a lot on Twitter, is that, Rich, it's a simulation game. You're overlooking into this. I'm like, but wouldn't you want the cars from, I don't know, the past 5 years in there that were made by car manufacturers?
Yeah.
We know Sony has the money to get licenses for them. That's a big part of Gran Turismo. Why is that not there? The other thing that's interesting that I wanted to bring up too, and I noticed this playing it, there's no crash physics in this. And there's crash physics in Forza Horizon, which is considered more arcadey. which is amazing to me because this is a simulation game. Crashes happen in races. And I cannot believe that there is still zero crash physics in a 2022 Gran Turismo game. And what baffles me even more is that where are the reviewers getting their scores from? Because you have places like IGN that are like complaining about the game, and they're like, oh yeah, what did IGN give it? I forgot the damn score of what they gave it.
I think it was like close to a 9.
Yeah, it was like a 9 out of 10 or something like that, but they're complaining about it at the same time. It's like, so which one is it? Or is your score valid or are your complaints valid?
Past that, once you get into the racing, it's fun, but you're let down by the visuals. Some of the visuals look great. Some look just absolutely terrible. It looks like a remastered PlayStation 3 game. So I said all of these things, and I'd say 90% of the people I talked to agreed and said, yeah. There was a few people saying, like, yeah, I agree with you, but I don't know, my nostalgia for the series is really getting in the way. And that's a direct quote from somebody I know who reviewed the game, who ended up giving it an 8 out of 10.
Oh my.
The microtransaction thing before we close out this video.
Well, it's obscene. It's obscene. Those were not revealed.
They
to
did
the
not
reviewers.
have them before, right? They didn't have them before for the reviews.
It's man, so in love with greed, he has forgotten himself and found only appetites.
If this game, and I think I might be taking the words out of your mouth, but if this game didn't have the name Gran Turismo 7 on it,
yep, that's what I said yesterday.
It would be a 6.5 across the board. There's no doubt about it.
And that is the most I will show you, because I highly encourage all of you to go watch Reviewtechusa's coverage of Gran Turismo 7. One of the craziest downfalls of an amazing franchise I have ever witnessed. And don't get me wrong, graphics aren't everything. A good chunk of Rich's personal gripes with the game is the presentation, and well, let's be fucking honest. Those trailers they showed us were very misleading. The game does not look good whatsoever. I would say it downright looks incomplete. And here we were told by PlayStation fanboys that $70 equated to quality when it came to PlayStation. PlayStation games are worth $70 because Sony always provides the best visuals, the best gameplay, and the best experience. When in reality, behind the scenes, Sony and Polyphony Studios were looking to fuck them over as hard as they possibly could. At a full $70, Sony requires you to be always online to play this game. You cannot progress offline. Hell, you can't do most things offline. It's nothing more than a demo if it's not connected to the internet.
In addition, PlayStation 4 disc-based games don't need to be connected online to play.
Which ultimately backfired on them because the game went down for more than 30 hours.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.
Not to mention the predatory monetization that was not there in the review copies that were handed out to intentionally influence the review scores into being higher, and then only including them at the official launch. The type of shit you would expect out of corporations like EA and Ubisoft and Activision. But to see them coming out of Sony? But it all makes sense considering GT7's microtransactions are 700% more expensive than the previous entry. Something reviewers were obviously not made aware of intentionally, because the grindy nature of this game would put off most GT fans. So for a short bit there, GT7 was sitting at a pretty impressive critic review score. That was until the game actually fucking launched, and everything about the reviews no longer made any goddamn sense. It was as if the people were playing something else, which in turn led GT7's user score into breaking records on Metacritic. Clearly, everything about this game is a mess, from the underwhelming visuals, to the requirement of always being online, to the game going down for 30 hours, to the developers patching the game to make it harder to earn cars in-game by playing, to the greedy microtransactions that were not shown until launch. Everything about this game is the embodiment of what PlayStation fanboys feared Game Pass would be.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
Okay then.
Unfortunately, PlayStation fanboys don't seem to realize this, nor do they want to acknowledge it. Instead, what they decided to do was take to Twitter, per usual, you know, their favorite fucking hobby, and damage control the living shit out of this game for no other reason than because it's PlayStation.
I feel sorry for the dev team that worked on Gran Turismo 7. They obviously put a lot of hard work into making a great game. The way this game is getting slaughtered in user reviews is unjustified in my opinion. I've seen far worse microtransactions.
Hold on, let me get this straight. You feel sorry for the dev team that updated the game to intentionally make it harder for people to earn cars in-game by playing it instead of opening up their wallets? You feel sorry for the dev team that for some reason kept the game down for 30 hours? The same dev team who can't make a city not look like it's rendered on the Nintendo 64? The same dev team responsible for deceiving its own audience? At some point, you have to realize not every single developer in the world is a victim of the corporation they work for. The review bombs by the users is 100% justified, and you're an absolute cuck if you think otherwise.
Fake outrage will never succeed in stopping a good game from becoming successful. GT7 #1.
In what fucking world, in what fucking universe is a 1.9 user review fake outrage, especially when the majority of people reviewing it are PlayStation users and owners? People who can separate their enjoyment of this piece of plastic from their identity. Unlike you dumb fucks who don't give a shit if the products from Sony are good or bad. You only give a shit if Sony is on top so you can continue to build your identity off their success. But if you want to call a game that requires you to be online at all times, that goes down for 30 hours, that's riddled with microtransactions up to $200, a good game, be my fucking guest. If these are what the standards are going to be for future games, we are royally fucked. I mean, honestly, games like GT7 make services like Game Pass look like heaven.
MTXs shouldn't be in a $70 game, says the bot who pays for 100 Xbox controllers and no games.
What type of deflection is this? Who is this fucking simp? Why the hell is he cucking so hard for Sony? Who in their right mind compares microtransactions in fully priced games to buying a controller? It's as if all valid criticism levied towards this game cannot be used. The man has to do whatever he can to draw the attention to something else. Yeah, well, you guys buy Xbox controllers and lots of them. Yeah, well, that's because you kind of need to use controllers. Microtransactions, however, shouldn't be in a fucking $70 game. The fact that there are some cars in this game that cost more than a controller, which is an actual physical item with more utility and uses, is blowing my fucking mind. But not as much as the fact that there are people out there damage controlling it and trying to draw all attention away. Sony basically bitch slapped you, and instead of standing up for yourself, you decide to go and try to make it about Xbox? Never be afraid to speak your mind. What Sony is doing with GT7 is beyond scummy. Let them know you don't want online-only DRM GT game. You don't want microtransactions in a full-price game that's worse than free-to-play games. They showed no respect. Let them know how you feel.
The majority of planes in Microsoft Flight Simulator cannot be earned by playing the game and must be purchased with real-world money. Conversely, there isn't a single car in Gran Turismo 7 that can't be earned by simply playing the game. Yet you haven't seen a single soul complain.
So for those of you who don't know, that first tweet was by Payo, someone who's a huge PlayStation fan with a decent following on Twitter. And I highly recommend you follow him because unlike PlayStation fanboys, I do like his tweets about PlayStation. And unlike the fanboys, he can set aside his enjoyment of PlayStation products to deliver some valid criticism, which in turn made him the new public enemy for PlayStation fanboys who thought he was on their side. They really sat there and thought that he would damage control this? Dog, not even CNN could damage control this shit. Pio doesn't even play Flight Simulator. He's primarily a PlayStation dude. Why would you bring in Flight Simulator? I know why, because this is deflection. Everything they can do to avoid having PlayStation face some criticism. These guys would take a bullet for Jim Ryan even though he's never met them once in his fucking life. So what's your argument then? It's okay because Flight Simulator has something similar? No, it's not okay. It doesn't make any of it okay. That logic doesn't apply here. At Free Tango Plays, we're about calling out corporations and bullying them, and if you're not up for that, then I'll gladly feature you.
I hate DRM and MTX, but I really think it's been blown out of proportion. GT has always been this way. The core of the game is to race, earn, and grind your way to the top against people online. Giving a game a 1.9 score seems unfair on the lower down devs who worked on this.
What was the last GT game you had to grind 112 fucking hours for a car? What was the last GT game you had to shell out at least $200 to buy a digital car? GT has not always been this way. You're fucking capping, and it's quite pathetic. We're talking at least over $2,000 American cash if you want to own every single car in this game. That wasn't a thing back in the day. The game going offline for 30 hours wasn't a thing back in the day. And the microtransactions were never this egregious. Why are people damage controlling this? What exactly has GT7 done to deserve your protection?
50k races 13, 65k races 2, 70 to 75k 11. I keep hearing people say the economy in the game isn't good, not to mention with clean race bonus adds plus 50% if you do not slam into cars. People just don't like playing games as much as they say. The economy and MTX are non-issue in GT7.
See, just because you have adapted to the game's shitty economy does not mean the game's economy isn't shitty. Not only was it shitty at launch, but it got a lot shittier when they patched it. And now to sit here and shame people for not investing every single hour of their day just so they can unlock cars like they used to when they were kids in other games is quite ridiculous, isn't it? Instead, what the team at GT7 decided to do was make a game where you gotta earn the best cars to make races easier, and that grindy aspect alone gets people to drop money at least on one decent car. In other words, it's a pay to win. So yeah, I guess it's nice to see PlayStation fanboys adapting to a pay to win market. Congratulations, you played yourself. So I guess Sony didn't have to go out of their way to blacklist Steve Iver. Instead, it looks like their own user base is review bombing them. Ouch. Which hurts because Steve Iver's review was a lot nicer than their own users. I don't think I've ever seen a game so praised and so damage controlled all at once. Truly a disastrous launch for Sony. One that further proves the narrative of Game Pass being the ultimate evil to not be true. These egregious microtransactions, these always online requirements, these live services, it's all always existed without Game Pass, and Sony is just as capable of ruining the industry as anyone else. They aren't gods, they aren't saints, they aren't above everyone else, they're just as scumfuck, and you should stop damage controlling them. It's quite pathetic. Anyways, if you guys don't mind, you can hand me that rope right over there. I could pull myself out of this hole. Wait, where you guys going? Oh, fuck.
Free Congo sucks ass.